Next tonight, making an initial appearance in Dane County Court right now means appearing through a narrow slot in a door. Some people feel that gives an unfair impression and, worse yet, violates constitutional rights. Jamie Perez shows us how they're fighting for change.
It's not just because of the masks that Sandy Renardi has a tougher time doing her job.
Hardly visible.
Renardi is a court observer for Nehemiah. She leads a group that's focused on recording how racial disparities play a role in the criminal justice system. A big concern right now, how defendants appear through a cell door.
There's lots of research that indicates when defendants are shackled, when they're in prison garb, etc., that affects the perceptions of the people hearing the case.
Renardi said to observe the defendants through a food slot hole is both dehumanizing and makes them look automatically guilty. Last week, one of her peer court observers, Amy Thronson, replicated a food slot hole during the public comment portion of the Criminal Justice Council meeting to prove a point.
I am uncomfortable. I am yelling so that I'm sure you can hear me. My body is contorted. I am looking up to you from a place of submission.
They've also sent numerous emails to the people who could help change the way defendants appear for virtual appearances. District Attorney Ishmael Ozan replied to a letter, writing, "Historically in Dane County, we have not moved towards video appearances as some other counties around the state have. At this time, you are observing a temporary fix to what we hope is a temporary situation." Dane County Sheriff Dave Mahoney responded by noting, "In the current COVID housing and restrictions this facility has, we are doing our very best to meet the needs of the courts and the needs of the individual."
We don't believe this is the only possible solution at our jails. For example, legal visiting rooms, which are still have a barrier. They have a fiberglass barrier where an attorney would sit on one side and the defendant would sit on another. It wouldn't be ideal, but those, for example, could be used for with a camera on the other side and at least show the defendant in full view.
Renardi knows it's been challenging for the courts to modify the way they do things in this pandemic, but allowing for a proper court hearing is essential to a fair criminal justice system.
Anyone who has worked this year has had to figure out new technology solutions, shift their work environments, adapt to new ways of doing things, and they have a public responsibility to ensure that defendants' due process rights are protected.
For News 3 Now, I'm Jamie Perez.
Renardi says she is trying to ramp up the pressure to modify these virtual court hearings by reaching out to elected and public officials in the coming weeks.